there in the near future?
No.
You ever going to be?
No.
Landon Morris, 93.3 CFXU The Fox, back once again. This interview is no small feat. If you've listened on air, you've heard me rant and rave about an album by a little band called Kiwi Jr. I've been well on record saying their new record, Chopper, is my favorite of the year. And today I am joined by Jeremy from Kiwi Jr. How are you?
Hey, I'm okay. That's your favorite record of the year?
Yeah, it is. It's only trailed by Always and the new Adam Baldwin record.
Okay, cool.
So I hope I'll go on also on the record and say I'm not just saying that to you. You know, it's truly a fantastic record. And I'd actually like to talk about your approach to this record. So compared to Football Money and Cooler Returns, things are more electric, synthy, and dancey even, but the album still retains a sort of mystique, you know? I mean, I've read you guys talk about it as being like a nighttime record, which is definitely the case. So I want to know what the process was for constructing this specific sound for this record.
Well, the sound and the songs are a little bit, I mean, they're sort of connected. But the songwriting process was one thing, and then once we got into the studio with Dan and Alex, that was a whole other thing. So I started writing the record basically while we were promoting Cooler Returns, and yeah, I probably did like one really good demo a month or something like that. And then sent it to the rest of the guys, and they would learn the songs. And then eventually we got it to Dan, and he had ideas. And when we were in the studio, yeah, it's all hands on deck and just everyone trying to, pitch in any capacity and make everybody, the goal of making a record when there's like 8 people in the room is just that nobody hates it.
That's fair.
So I guess I was going to say make everybody happy, but I want to change that to just make sure that nobody is really, really mad about the way it sounds. And that's sort of the way that, vibes and the sounds that you find on an album come out, in my opinion. It's just make sure that nobody absolutely hates it in the room. And then there's usually some people who don't like a specific thing, but if they're okay to concede that for another thing, it all balances out, is what I'm saying.
Sure, absolutely. And so are any of you like keyboard players by trade, or was this synth thing kind of something that just came about and you kind of scrambled to pick it up as the recording went along?
I mean, well, none of us are even musicians by trade. So,
that's fair.
Yeah, I mean, like when I wrote the songs, a lot of them were written on keyboard, so I can play like chords. And then Brian is the best keys player in the group. I'm probably the worst. Brian is the best one, so he probably played most of the keys. I did some. I think actually Mike played some piano too, and I don't know if Browan actually did, but he was definitely around and had ideas and stuff like that for the keys parts. Dan really knows what he's doing on synth, and yeah, he taught us a lot. And now Brian plays keys live and he nails it. He's the go-to guy.
So you mentioned Dan. So for our listeners out there, can you explain who that is and the role he had in the record?
Yeah, it's Dan Beckner from Handsome Furs, Operators, Wolf Parade, and he produced the album. And he's a great dude, and we were really excited to have him on board.
So the first time I heard your name as a band was from Professor Sky's record reviews. He reviewed Cooler Returns and titled the review, WTF is Kiwi Jr. talking about, and why is it so good? Have you seen this review?
Yeah, our manager friend that sent it to me. I watched it.
So he kind of describes your writing style as like surrealist Bob Dylan. So I mean, I'm not one for comparisons between artists, but I wanted to ask about your writing style. I read that you were writing these songs kind of at the same time. So how did you approach writing these songs? But I mean, while at the same time making them different from each other, so it didn't just kind of seem like one song, if that makes any sense.
Well, I mean, they're written at the same time, but I probably wrote the whole album from like September through to June. So, it's a long time. You have to write 10 songs. Yeah, this was the first record where I didn't rely on old notes or old demos or, old riffs or anything like that. We just started from scratch, which was really refreshing. And, you kind of got to use that clean slate in whatever way you wanted. So with this record, I for the most part wrote from the title down, song title first, or even if the song title wasn't there, kind of like the main, if you were in high school, they would call it like your thesis statement.
Sure. Yeah, that's totally fair. And some of these titles are really, really interesting, specifically Clerical Sleep and my personal favorite, The Masked Singer. Do you follow The Masked Singer like as a show, or was it just kind of an interesting concept you thought you could kind of write about?
I've seen it. I don't follow it. Like I don't know who I don't know who wins. But like in Toronto anyway, there's advertisements for The Masked Singer all over town, like at bus stops and stuff. Even on like the sides of buses, you get like a giant, I don't know, corn cob costume, and you're just like, what is that? And then you realize it says like Masked Singer on NBC or wherever it's on. Yeah, that song took a long time to write. I didn't know where it was going for a long time because I had all these different ideas I wanted to get in there. But early on, I knew that I wanted to call it The Masked Singer, and the TV show plays into it in a bit. Just in that way of kind of reality TV and washed up actors or athletes or whoever they've got on there putting on a stupid costume and trying to do something. And just that the artifice and the production of it is just insane. So yeah, I knew I wanted to call it The Masked Singer. I also just think that's such a good title. Like they did such a good job of that.
Right.
It reminds me of like The Man in the Iron Mask or something. Like it's just like it's so like written in stone, or like you could imagine buying like a really old book, like first edition, 1722, The Masked Singer. And I don't know. I just thought that was a really good title, and I stole it for my selfish reasons.
It is, absolutely. And I mean, not only with this record, but with even with your last record, TV and movies kind of seem to be a theme in some of these titles. Are you a big movie guy?
I don't want to say big movie guy, but I watch movies, I watch TV, and I hate to say that like the pandemic affected the record in like a really direct way where I'm like writing about it. But I'll say that, I was probably watching way more TV and movies and, just general capital C content over the last 2 years than I normally would be, I think, if there wasn't a pandemic. So that stuff sort of bleeds over the line a little bit into what I'm doing, I think.
Yeah, sure. That makes total sense, and I think that it kind of fits in with the way you construct songs as well. They all kind of tell a fantastic story, like a narrative. What I think of specifically is like the Exorcist, the film. you paint such a great portrait with that song. There's no question that goes along with this. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. But I want to ask you about track 2, Parasite 2. So you recently shared a clip on Instagram of an alternate version of that song with auto-tune vocals, but it didn't make the cut. So I want to know if there were any other new techniques that you tried in the studio that did or didn't make the record in a similar vein to that.
Well, first of all, the Parasite 2 thing was a joke. Like I just said this bridge, like the way we layered the keys under it and stuff, sounds like it could be auto-tuned and it would be like a pop jam. And then I made Alex, our engineer, do it, and we wasted like a half hour getting it right just so that we could laugh at it. And then once we had it, there was a guy or two in the room who really liked it. And then once Dan got there, we were mixing. I think Dan even really liked it. And he's like, "You got to do it. It sounds great." But I couldn't do it. I don't think it worked. But yeah, there's all sorts of dumb stuff that you try in the studio, and then you realize that you're like wasting all of your money.
But that's important, long days in the studio. You got to spice it up and liven the mood. Maybe throw some auto-tune on, throw down like a T-Pain verse or something.
Well, actually, I got into T-Pain's podcast around the same time. Have you ever listened to that?
I haven't. What does he talk about?
He gets lots of good guests on. Like there's a not Tim Heidecker, who's the other, Eric Wareheim guest episode where he was a guest. I mean, nice. That was good. And he's a funny dude, T-Pain. That maybe is where that came from, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was sort of into T-Pain. Well, I think I was sort of into T-Pain at the time. I don't know.
I want to ask you about your European tour that you recently embarked on. How was that experience for you? Had you traveled very much like out of Canada for music prior to this?
Well, not really, to be honest. This was our first European trip. It wasn't that long. It was like almost 2 weeks. It was fantastic. The shows were so surprising. Everyone was so nice. They take care of you there. The rumors are true. It's like, yeah, it's a different ballgame over there compared to here.
How so? Like in terms of crowds, have you noticed a crowd difference?
Yeah, man. Like we played Belgium on like a Sunday, and there was like 175 people there. And I'm like, how do this many Belgians know who we are? Meanwhile, like, yeah, you tour the States and you might have a Friday night in, I don't know, I don't want to name a particular city, but like you might have a weekend show in a good music city and there's just other shows happening, or, there's a different indie band there every night. So people aren't, jumping to get those tickets in. But in Europe, everyone seemed really nice, and yeah, they showed up. It was humbling.
Sure. I mean, speaking of crowds and indie bands, you have a show coming up that I'm incredibly excited for. 2 shows coming up back on the East Coast at the Seahorse Tavern and at Trailside Music Hall in Halifax and Charlottetown, respectively. But this show was supposed to happen a year ago, but a wave of COVID, mostly caused by my university, resulted in the show being canceled.
So that's what happened.
Yeah.
You guys had your ring party, and then the Maritimes had to like shut down during Christmas, and we couldn't go home, and we lost the shows.
Yeah,
I hope you're happy.
I personally had nothing to do with it, but I mean, the administration can certainly take the blame. But the show is coming up a year after to the date, if I'm correct. Have you played many shows on the East Coast as Kiwi Jr.? Because if I remember correctly, you formed in Toronto, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we formed in Toronto. Like, we'd all been living here for a while, I think. So, but yeah, we've played only like, I'm going to say like 2 shows as Kiwi Jr. In PEI.
Any in Halifax?
No, sorry, my dog is going crazy. Can you hear him?
No, but I would love to know his name.
It's Angus. And Angus is, I don't know what he wants. Anyway, no, we've never played Halifax, but we've tried a bunch, and we've tried to play a few different maritime shows, and it's sort of tricky to pull off and make the numbers work.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Christmas is a good time. You can kind of make a little trip out of it and visit the fam and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So about this show, I mean, is it exciting or is it kind of nervous playing this Halifax show?
Halifax is fun. That'll be exciting. The Charlottetown one, the last time we played Charlottetown, we had like the worst show ever. And that was probably right before we signed to Sub Pop. And so like there was a lot of people out being like, oh, the band's doing pretty well. Let's see, and we come home and just, we totally missed the kick. And it was a terrible show. And so I'm kind of, I got to redeem myself this time. Hopefully a good show.
I'm sure it will be. I mean, you've really been on the ball with the live videos I've seen, and I'm super excited. And tickets are available now. If you go to Kiwi Junior's website, kiwijunior.com/live, you can find the tickets there. But I want to ask, what's next for Kiwi Junior?
Well, we're just planning dates to support the record next year. We're still going to be touring. We're doing a string of West Coast dates with Cloud Nothings in a few weeks. So we're going from LA up to Seattle. And then, next year we've got some New York and Philly and Northeast states and coming up, and a few things, yeah.
Awesome. So where can people find Kiwi Junior if they want to keep up with you?
Well, on all your, social media places, you can go to kiwijunior.com.
Fantastic website with a fantastic Bandcamp page attached to it, if I do say so myself.
There you go.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for listening to the show this week. If you like what you heard, make sure to check us out on Instagram at mixedrhythm. Make sure to check out our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/themixedrhythm. We have a YouTube as well where we post some live music footage. All of our episodes are uploaded to Spotify directly after the show with all the music included, so you don't miss a thing. And of course, you can check out our website, mixedrhythm.wordpress.com. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you again next week.